All right. So just so you're aware, at the end of the webinar here, we're going to be putting in a link for a poll. If you fill out that, you're entered into the drawing at the end of the month. You get $200 off for 2020 for that subscription. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Also, I've muted everybody, but if you do have any questions or anything at all, feel free to hit Alt and H. That's going to bring up the chat window, and you ask those questions there. Today, looks like on the agenda, we're going to be going over WISSOTA specific things. So we're going to have WISSOTA specific check-ins, lineup creations for WISSOTA. I'm also going to be using MyLaps, so be using that transponder integration. So I'm going to get that opened up here as well. So let's get started. This is kind of the new look for MyRacePass. It's the test track that we have here. I'm going to be going into race management over here. That's going to take me to the next race in the schedule. I've already put in the races that I'm going to be doing here with my different classes. So I have my class down here, my 360 sprint class, and it's going to want to know what I want to do about pill draw. I'm going to select the automatic pill draw process. It's going to draw for me, but we also have where the drivers can pick before or after. We can pick that. We can have them draw and hit the button, or we can do it manually. We're also able to set the maximum pill as high or as low as we want, and we can rebase the pill, which means we set a new low number. So if I put it at 50, 50 would be the lowest number you could draw, and 49 would be the worst number you could draw. I'm also going to put in my options here. We're going to use transponders and allow rentals, so we can have rentals for transponders. We're going to go to MRP Live, speaking of transponders, and get this going. So when I click here from Launch from Web, it's going to pull up MRP Live. If you need to download that, you can download that right here on the MRP Live tab here. I believe you can also get it from the help desk. And it's going to be connected, but I'm going to switch some things around here. So let's go into our scoreboard settings right here. This is Orbit's 5.3. We're going to be matching some things up. So they're going to be matching up this IP address here. This one right over here, we're going to copy that, and I've put that in here already. And then this TCP IP port, 50,000, I've copied that and put that here. Of course, we're going to be using Orbit, so I'm going to select that. The MRP Live code is going to be right here. It actually copies over for me automatically when I hit Launch from Web. This is going to be per date. So this is the code for my track on today. So you will have to change that, but like I said, Launch from Web will take care of that for you. And then assignments path. So for me, Orbits, I make a different folder for them that I need to use it. So we're going to use this 3.7 folder right here. You can use a shared folder. Just make sure you clear it out in between races, so that we know when we import groups and runs, we know which date goes to where. So we're staying pretty clear there. So we'll hit connect. It'll connect for me there. If it comes up with any sort of messages, so if I was to switch this to, let's go 2-9, it's going to try to connect. It's going to take longer than usual, and then it's going to pop up a message that's going to ask me to verify my IP address and make sure. And generally, just make sure you're reading that. It's going to tell you what you're going to be looking for and what to double check. So it's going to try real hard to get that connected here for me. And then it's going to pop up here. You're going to see an RM broadcast was not found with the IP address and port number. So just verify that that is correct. So we're going to go back, put this here, Now it's going to be 0.7 for me. Connect. You're going to see how much quicker that was. It is connected. You can even see that I got that going here. So that's going to be what we're going to be doing here to get MRP Live connected and ready to go. We're actually going to come back to this page in a bit because we can see the live timing data right from this page. But for now, we're going to go into entries over here. And I'm going to switch classes. I'm going to work in this 360 class right here. And we're going to have our all of the drivers that we have had before here. We also have drivers that have registered online here. So there's a couple different ways to fill this up. It's actually going to be, if we go into settings, manage drivers, it's going to be all the drivers in here for that manage drivers. So we were in the 360s. You actually see this is where the default car numbers and default transponder numbers are for a lot of these drivers. So I could go in here and adjust this before a race if I knew something was going to change. I can see that, or if I knew a driver has retired, I could actually just disable them here so that they don't appear on that big list. When a driver does appear, we're going to says his name is Chuck Ground. We're going to search by last name first in this filter. I recommend going by the last name just so that you can see, you don't get tripped up with any name variations. We know, it's not like he's going to be called Charles. We're going to have him in as Chuck here. So we're gonna have that there. And when we see him here, we're just gonna click on him, and we're gonna see a couple things about Chuck. One, we do have a default car number in here for him with the 09. We've drawn a pill for him, and he's not very lucky. We also have his owner information right here. I have this as a default that the pay is going to go to the owner. If we wanted to get rid of that, we could remove it. We could add a different team in here with this magnifying glass. You're actually able to see all of the different teams that you have here for this person. And this is all of the owners that I've had race at my racetrack. And I'm able to search through here if I need to, or I can add a brand new team right here. He owns a transponder, so we have that in there by default as 1010. I could put this in as rented if I wanted to. If I did sort of a rent-to-own scenario too, I could put that in as a default, and it'll keep track of both, that he's using that transponder, he's rented it. If we click this button right here, click in the tab, you're actually going to be able to see all of the different transponders that he's used previously, so you can see all of them here. We have his age. He has claimed his profile, which I'll go over some of the benefits for him here in a bit. And we do have his address on file. I also have, the last thing I'm going to show here is this lineup override. So I'm going to be going based off of pill draws, so it's super likely he's going to go dead last anyway. But if I wanted to, I could send him to the back of all heats or at the back of all races. I'll show what that looks like here. Say he was a rookie and just elected to show up to go to the back, or he showed up late and we were penalizing him. So we could do that. So we're just going to click add. He's checked in. We can see all this information right here if we need to. And we could definitely just keep going through this process, finding drivers. Here, this driver actually has completed online registration. You'll see that here. For WISSOTA, you'll also be able to see the license here. So they have a license. You're actually able to see that here. And we could definitely check him in here. But that's not the only way we have to check in drivers. So one of the ways we could check in drivers is to import from a previous event. So if I wanted to import all of my drivers from yesterday, say it was a 2-day show, I could do that and import them over. And it'll actually copy over the pills and transponder numbers for those drivers. This would be what it would look like if I had them press the button. Got a little bit better luck than I'm used to. You also notice these gold helmets here. That does mean the drivers have claimed their profiles. Drivers who have claimed their profiles have a lot of cool benefits that they can do. They can share photos and videos. They can put in their schedule, and the results will actually share over from here. So if they said they're going to be racing today, it'll actually update that results for them on their schedule. It's like a Facebook page for drivers. But the other thing that they have that's really neat is on the MyRacePass app. When they log in, they're going to have a spot there for a barcode so you can scan them in. This will be the same as the hard cards that you'd be used to that WISSOTA would issue them. It won't interfere with anything that they have with the hard card. If you have a driver who is prone to losing their hard card, for example, let them know about this. And then you're actually going to be able to scan them in right here using that scanner. We have a couple scanners that we recommend. You're actually going to be able to find that link in here, inside of here, inside Race Management. This is the articles. We have a couple different ones that we recommend, and I'm actually going to put that in here in the chat too. If you're interested in this, this scanner right here, it's going to be in the chat. That chat window, by the way, is Alt and H. That is the place to ask any questions that you have about anything here. I'm always happy to go over that in more detail. Alt and H, the spot to do that. So let's say we have a driver in here and we search for him and he's just not here at all. We can use the search up at the top here. Look for that driver. We're also able to create a brand new driver. Some things I'd recommend about this, make sure you're using this filter first before you go right to the search box. That way you're looking for drivers that are going to be in your driver list first. Also, if you're creating a new driver, try to search for last name first, as I said. That way you can catch any duplication that would be happening. And then you're also going to, it's going to want a hometown in there, and make sure that that hometown is accurate and you're putting in a real hometown there for them. It's going to be checking them based on that. So if we tried to create another driver there for them, it's actually going to do that there. So it's going to check and see. So if I tried making a Chuck Grounds from Obo, Minnesota, it will find me there and it'll say, hey, there's already a Chuck Grounds from Obo, Minnesota. You should use him instead. So that's kind of a last ditch thing there for you. Also, if you ever see a driver and he has it'll have a couple warnings. It'll say this is a new driver. And it'll show up there. So last way we're gonna enter in drivers is a speed entry button. That's gonna be down here. That's gonna skip that first window that you saw there. So as I get more comfortable and I know that my drivers are who they say they are, I can just enter them in over here, and we're good to go. As long as I don't have any duplicate car numbers or duplicate transponder numbers by default. I have a question here about the benefit of importing. The benefit really, what I would use the import from a previous race for is a 2-day show or a special show in general. I wouldn't import drivers in mass unless I was doing that personally. And then it would probably be a little unfair to drivers if you imported their past pill draw, unless it was something that you needed that for. So that's for like there are races where you need to know their past pill draw for a tiebreaker. Say it's a multi-day kind of event. You'll need to know what they drew as a pill, and they keep that. So they draw at the beginning of the week, and then they keep that throughout. So you would want them to keep that same pill number. So that's what that would be for. In general, it's just an option there that you have for, like I said, multi-day events would be what I would primarily use that for. But that's a great question. I'm going to be entering in the transponder numbers here for these drivers. They do have to be kind of specific. So if you do have any other questions, though, that's a great question. Alt and H is the place to do that. I'm going to be entering in these transponder numbers. So when I get to the MRP Live portion of everything, it'll let me know. You can see everything here. This transponder number is pretty important because that's going to be what ties them together or links them from the transponder to what have you there. So let's go into our races. Inside races, we're going to have the previous races. So this keeps, I believe, up to 50 different races there. So we can actually see all of our, you can see up to 50. I think I have last year's in on there. And I could copy this over. So copy over the setup that I've had it before. Say that, I know that right now I have 10 entries. I know that I'm just going to repeat the same. I don't have to go and do this again. But I could just click and do it. But I'm going to do the manual way of entering in races. So I'm just going to click here. For me, with 10 entries, let's just do one heat and one A feature. But I could do more than that if I wanted to. I can do heats, features, dashes, specials, qualifying, and hot laps, and I can go all the way down to a Z feature if I wanted to. I can add multiple races of the same type, so I could add more than one heat race. I can add it in the laps and how many go to tech as well. And I'll add this in. It'll be good. And then the main thing we're going to want to do in this page is it's going to want to know who's moving on to the next step. So for me, that's going to be everyone with 10 drivers. I'm going to say the top all of them are going to go. But I can get pretty specific if I wanted to, with B features or things like that. It'll actually go to, it'll ask if I had a B feature, be A, and then the B. So we get to be pretty exact. You might want to know the difference here between these two. So good way of showing this. So per race is going to take out of every single race that we have. So if I did top 4, that's going to give me 8 drivers because I'm going to get 4 out of heat 1 and 4 out of heat 2. If I did 4 from group, this is more for a passing point sort of scenario. This is going to give me 4 overall, which I'm not looking for today. So I'm just going to do per race, all of them. I'll save it so we get our transfers set. And we're also able to set how many drivers per row we would like. We have 1, 2, or 3 per row. It's going to default to 2 for almost every kind of race that we have, but you do have the option to switch that up if you need. We're also able to rename the heats up here, put in a new sponsor. We can put a lot more information on these races. And when we copy over other races, copy over other setups, it'll copy all of that information too. So it'll do a one-to-one copy of what you did that last day. So if you're a little bit more detailed than I am, that's totally cool. Highly encourage that. Feel free to use that import from previous race. That'll pull in everything for you. It'll work out really nice. And then the last thing I'll show here is this adding more races. You saw that I did that real quick. I added the more heat races. I could also add in a brand new type of race, so I could add in a B feature up here. A lot of cool things there, and remove races too. So if I just didn't feel like running heats today, I could do that right over here. We're going to keep our heats though, and go right into lineups. Again, Alt and H is the place to ask any questions. I'll be putting in a link at the end for a survey. You fill out the real brief survey. You're going to be entered into a drawing to let us know, to for $200 off for next year's subscription. Sorry, I'm word soup today. So we are in the lineups now. Inside of our lineups, we could definitely just click on drivers, how we want them to be. We can X them out of here. But a faster way to do this would be to calculate our lineups and select what we're going to be doing. So for me, I will definitely, for me, I have everything kind of set, but you might also want to go in here at the beginning of the year, this gear. This is going to have your lineup settings, so you can actually choose the lineups you're more likely to be using throughout the year. So for me, I've picked a variety of A features and B features that you're more likely to use throughout the year. And I'm going to select this WISSOTA heat and calculate it. It's going to do that based on their pill draw. We're actually able to click how is this calculated, and you can see here it has them all in order. And this driver, even though he drew a 99, we also said he was going to go to the back of all heats, and so he did. He's in the back there with that 99, and it did denote that for us. If we need to move people around, let's say BJ Buffalo here showed up way too late and we needed to move him, we can just click and drag him where he needs to be, and then save it, and we'll update it. When I hit calculate lineups up here at the top, there's a set races to public, and when I did that, have this checked and hit calculate, and also select a lineup. This actually does it and updates everything in the MyRacePass app. If you have a website through MyRacePass, it'll also update the website for you automatically too. So a really cool thing you have an option for. You're also able to share this to social media, so you can share this to Facebook and Twitter. And this button right here is a media format. So if you need a media format for these, you have them right here. I'm going to click the MRP Live button now. It's kind of foreshadowed it earlier. We're going to go to MRP Live, and we're going to send lineups. So it's going to say the lineups are sent. Those lineups are now in that folder that I set when I put in here for MRP Live, that folder on my desktop. We're going to go into registration and import groups and runs. So it's going to ask me to select a file. We're going to import our runs here. And there we go. We have our heat races here. This is all the drivers in that heat race. When I hit send lineups, it's actually going to send all of the lineups that are in lineup mode. So it's going to send them all in one big batch. Right now I only have one heat though. So it just sent that one heat. I'm going to go to MRP Live so we can kind of see everything going and go into timing. I do not have the benefit of having a whole bunch of cars or a racetrack, so I'm going to have to use this track simulator. We're going to simulate this here. I'll hit that green flag and we'll go. So as these cars are going around the track, it's actually going to be updating here on MRP Live. So fans are going to actually be able to see that right here. Let's refresh this page. Should load up for me. There we go. And you're seeing it's updating here automatically. This is what a fan would see if they have live timing. I'm also able to follow my favorite drivers. So if I wanted to click on one, I could see it, see the gap and what their last laps would be. Same thing that a fan would be able to do as well. So we do have this open here. It'll actually update for us too if we set it as a, it's going to auto finish here because I put in the laps. Then you go across the line, so it's going to update that with the checkered flag. We're going to stop them. We'll come back to these track simulator guys here. Thing we're going to hit is this stop button right here. So when we hit the stop button, that's going to be our cue when we go into results that the results are ready for us to do. So run is stopped. We're going to go into lineups or results rather. It's going to say right up here that at 12:30 I completed one heat. I sure did. We're going to click on that, and that's going to import the results over. If we want to double check them real quick, we can. I'm pulling this right here. Looks like we have 18:09, 85:20, 23, all the way on down. We're also able to set if they did not finish, did not start, we're disqualified, we're black flagged, And we don't need to worry about this column. This is for passing points, which we're not going to be doing today. So we don't need to worry about that with what we're doing. If we need to move drivers around, we sure can. We can click on them up here, click and drag them where they were supposed to finish. Let's say that guy forgot to charge a transponder and it just blanked out on him. So we can just move him where he was supposed to finish. And what we're going to do is hit this save as completed. When we do that, when we hit save as completed, that is updated across the MyRacePass network. So it'll update website. If you have a website through MyRacePass, it will also update on the app. So you can see that right there. Again, I'm going to be going through the A features, but if you have any questions, Alt and H is the place to do that. That'll be the best spot for asking any questions that you have about anything here. Doesn't even have to be anything I've gone over thus far. So feel free to ask away. I'm going to go into our lineups here. So we're going to calculate those lineups. So we're just going to do that with WISSOTA point average and calculate it. And again, we're going to have this right up here. How is this calculated? And it's going to have that point average for me. A redraw of that came to it. We have that. And also, if you're needing to see every driver, their point average, you can find this report right over here for WISSOTA point average. That's going to show for every driver that's there. So this is going to be my full one right here for me. So you can see this one's broken out a little bit more. So you can see that average here. This is also sortable. We're going to repeat our process again. Send lineups. Lineups are sent. Open up the timing. Go into registration. We're going to import that same file, at least the runs file from right here. It's going to be a little different because this time it's going to have our A feature on it. So you see that A feature. We're just going to select it and go right into the timing and let them roll. So something you also have access to here is this lap viewer. So with this lap viewer, what a lot of folks like to do is have this hooked up to screens at the track. I've seen it done near the concessions, for example. They have a screen that shows this lap viewer. So that way the fans never lose track of the action. So you can see all this right here. You do have access to that in the tools. I recommend if you are using Orbitz to make sure that you do have that connected and ready to go, and you're just looking at it and making sure everything is all right. So I'm going to end the race early. All right, that is done. Let's get this track simulator out of the way. Again, we're going to make sure we hit that stop button because if we go right here, it's not going to be finding that right up until we hit the stop button. It's going to ask if I want to stop the timing. I sure do. So if you're in a situation like this, if we didn't have it stop, we're just going to stop in time. We can just refresh it. If you know it's stopped and the results page isn't showing it, just hit the refresh. You'll find it there. You can click on it, and there they all are. Again, you're also able to share this to a Facebook and Twitter page right in here. You're also able to have that media format right here if you'd like. So we'll save this. Our A feature is updated. Now we can go into our points and pay. Now here in settings and point schemes, I've actually gone in before the race started. You can also get to this in season management, and I've actually set up all of the different point schemes that I'm going to be using and pay schemes. So I've kind of managed that. For WISSOTA, it's actually pretty easy because I do have the 2018. That's going to be the one we're going to be using for the sanction there. If you have classes for whatever reason that used the 2017, so the previous years, point scheme, you can use that too. Both are presets, so I've selected that 2018 preset for right here. We're going to use it, so let's do that right over here. So I'm going to use WISSOTA point scheme, and then the pay scheme for mine are different depending on the class of car that I have racing. So I actually have different pay schemes here. Let's just put them in. I'll just give them sprint car. We're going to hit add. They're added in. So they have points based on that WISSOTA point scheme, and also pay based on how I've set up my pay. I'm able to, if I made a mistake, I can also hit this green recalculate button, and that will actually let me, you can see what I've done here. I can switch this up. So if I wanted to pay them a different pay scheme instead, I hit the wrong one. I'll hit that recalculate button and do that, and it'll adjust the pay there for me. I'm also able to, right over here, we're gonna hit this bar right here instead of this. So this is pretty useful on occasion. This is going to create a new points and pay group. So why would I do that? Let's say I was doing double points, or I was applying points to a different schedule. So let's say I was applying WISSOTA points, and I also wanted them to receive a different schedule's pay, this special. It'll do that. So it'll do both. It'll have both of these pay here. Right now, they're actually going to get double points. So BJ Buffalo right here, right now, has 222 points, which is way more. If you see this right up here, this different points group, most of the time you should only need one. If you recalculated it and it looks like you have double check up here, you can always delete a point scheme right here, a points group. And now I've set it back to normal. So from here, we're going to create payments. This create payments lets me see this payment amounts here. Any owners, so you can see those owners have replaced the names over here. We also have, we can put how we're going to be paying them. So I'm going to just print out checks for all of these drivers. We're able to export this to the desktop version of QuickBooks right here. We have a report here when we create this checks. So this right here, this DLT 103, it's going to be kind of the check type that I'm using. I'll put that in with a check number, and we'll create it. It'll create that for me right over here. Any drivers that I have addresses for, they'll appear right down here. That address is going to appear from the contact list, is where that will come from. We also have a variety of other reports. I know I showed you the WISSOTA report, but some other ones that folks like to use. This points by race is really nice. We'll break out the points and pay that they received from every feature. So I have my A feature right here. I'm also able to toggle things on this one. So I can get rid of the start. Let's say I don't really care about the car number or the points. I just want them to fill out this right here. I could. I'm also able to choose which ones I want to print off. So if I just cared only about this class's A feature, I could. We're able to print this or export it to a PDF, or on the ones that have them, Excel right over here. We also can set the type, so we can make it really small if we want to fit more people in on that. We have a variety of other reports too that you have access to right over here on reports, and the kind of the big picture reports is what I call them, over here in this reports tab. So you can see a lot more information, kind of the overview things. So I'm going to leave it open for questions for a little bit. If you do have any questions, you can hit Alt and H. That's going to bring up the chat window with you can ask any questions that you have about anything here. I'll be going over those, answering all the questions that you have. The Alt and H is the spot to do that for the next few minutes or so, depending on the number of questions I receive. I'll also get you that link to the form, so we can fill that form out here. So we're going to fill that survey here. Let me get that survey for y'all. So it's going to be this form right here. You only need to fill it out once. Well, you actually can only fill it out once. So be sure to do that. Helps us out a great deal. Also, again, puts you into that drawing for $200 off for 2020 subscription. So really cool thing to have access to right here. Got questions here about the announcer screen. Their way to organize drivers in order of the way they will start. There isn't a way to organize them by start quite yet. I can organize them based off of their car number, based off of their last name. I also have access to the lineup monitor with them, so I can view how they're lined up. I also recommend having the announcers use the MyRacePass app because they will have access to the lineups, results, and things all from the device right there. But there wouldn't be a way to sort them by that car order just yet. It was a great question though. Other things you do have access to in the tools here, I did mention it briefly here, is that lineup monitor. I'm going to set a race into lineup so you can see what I mean by this. Essentially, this is going to show all of the races that are in lineups. So as I create lineups, it's actually going to pop up these lineups here, and then as they switch to results, and I save those results, it's actually going to get those out of the way as well. So you can see that I had that in as now results, so that's out of the way there. I do have a video. We have a question here if we have any short videos to encourage drivers how to claim and quickly enter information about themselves. So I actually do have some information here in the help videos that's going to take you to the YouTube channel. I do have in driver information some videos that go over claiming a profile. Actually, the whole how to add in everything here. So you can see how to claim their profile, how to add in news. A lot of information here. They're varying things, but they're not too bad. The longest one here is 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So that's actually available if you go to myracepass.com/YouTube. It's available there, or in the help videos, which is available off to the side here. And I'm going to put that in the chat as well. So it's another question that we have, another thing you have. So this goes over a lot of different things. So you're actually also able to see all of the past webinars, including this one when it's ready. I'll be putting that in here. And a lot of other things. So if you're curious about the new season management, which is the big thing that we rolled out with this year, we actually have a playlist that goes over all of those as well, including videos and things of that nature. So yeah, that's a great question though. Any other questions? Alt and H is the place to do that, leaving it open here. For the next few minutes, be sure to fill out that survey link there that is in the chat. I'll be posting it here right before I leave as well, just so that you can grab that. And towards the top of the chat there, we do also have the recommended scanner for you too. So be sure to keep on the lookout for that. If you do need a scanner, that one's really great for scanning smartphones, which thing I was telling you about here in the entries, drivers to claim their profile. It's free for them to do. I have a lot of great benefits there, especially just to have a backup for that hard card. because they're anything like me. There's sometimes they just lose things or misplace their wallet. Happens to everybody, but I have never left home without my phone. I'll put it that way. So they do have access to that. Claiming their profile is the easiest way for them to do that. A lot of cool things they can do with having their profile, including filling things out for that announcer screen, but also having their hard card on there. Great to have as well. Some great questions in here. So with some of these reports too, you also can break them out individually too. So some of them will actually come as a big group. So if we were to do our lineups, for example, they're going to come in, so I can just print them all at once. But I can actually print them off one per page if I wanted to. And then with this, I actually have quite a few. If I only wanted to print just that A feature, we could do that here. So both A features, or we'd sort it out so it just only goes to A features and we print those out. A lot of options there, a lot of different options. Again, though, let me know if you do have any questions. I'm going to be here for the next few minutes going over everything. I will be back doing another webinar March the 11th, so that's on Monday, and it's going to be at 5:30 Central Time. So 5:30 Central, I will be doing that. This one's going to be over online registration, getting the schedule and classes, tickets, and MRP apparel. So really exciting stuff about some of the other things I didn't really cover here. But if you have any questions about online registration, the schedule of classes, how to get set up with tickets, how to definitely use tickets and dropship apparel to make use of the rewards program so that you can save more money for next year. Because I talk to promoters and I haven't talked to any of them that are just saying like, man, if I could only spend more money, that'd be awesome, right? So definitely sitting in on that one, talking about online tickets and apparel. Great way to save some money and make some money at the same time, sort of a win-win scenario. Also going to be doing walkthroughs there. The 12th and 13th for sure, going through a lot more, again, with race management, using the different transponders. Always great to get a refresher, and I'll be doing that too. So that I'll be at 5:30 there this next week. So be on the lookout for that. The place to look at, if you need to see any of those, you go to myracepass.com/live-training. You're going to see this here. You're probably familiar with this. So you can see all of that right here, kind of the schedule, and more are going to be on the way. So more are on the way, and you can view all of this here. All of the previous ones, all are recorded here in this 2019 webinar, all broken out here. So you can view those as well. So if you do have any other questions, feel free to let me know. You can either email me direct. You can use this email that I'll be putting in here, support. Sorry. So let's get rid of this here. I use support at myracepass.com. Be one. Feel free to chat to that one or to myself directly. Also, we do have the help desk here, which right down here, so you can get into articles about everything, and the help videos are going to be there as well. And finally, one last thing, be sure to fill out this form. Helps us out a great deal. Lets me know how I can best help you out with these. So be happy to do that. And we'll be entering you in to that drawing, $200 off for 2020. So great way to save some extra cash for next year too. And that form, super quick to fill out. Shouldn't take you very long at all. I know you're busy, especially this time of year, so want to make sure. Just be sure to do that. You have a lot to gain there from doing that. So again, I will be here, same place March the 11th. That's this next Monday, 5:30 Central Time. Online registration, schedule in the classes, online tickets, and dropship apparel. I hope to see you there, and let us know if you have any questions. Feel free, again, fill out this form. Can't stress that enough, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.